Hello, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my next episode of the podcast, GREL, Golf Real Estate, Life, and everything in between. Don't really have a big agenda today, but just wanted to check in, see how everybody's doing. It's been a while since we had a chat, and so just wanted to discuss a few subjects with you that kind of stuck out of my mind the last couple weeks. One of them is in real estate. The word mentorship gets mentioned quite a bit, and it has a lot of implications in terms of who you align yourself with and who you get mentorship from. If you are in the real estate game, you understand the relevance of mentorship and also coaching and so on. So it came to mind because when I originally became a realtor 10 years ago, I got introduced to a team leader who, mentored me and kind of guided me, helped me through the real estate world and really pushed me to be the best I could be, and without, taking any shortcuts or sacrificing any of my personal beliefs in how to run my business. And that was Jacob. Jacob was awesome, and he really, he was the epitome of the word mentor and team leader, and he was a constant in my life for the last, 8+ years of real estate, where I constantly called him and got advice from him. And, it didn't cost him anything in terms of effort, but it cost him time, and I always try to repay that in any way I could, whether it was, monetarily or not. But it was more important that he taught me the lessons that were important to become a great realtor and maximize my career, and be the best that I could be. So anyways, that word came to mind quite a bit recently. I was just kind of thinking about my role now, with my team and some of the agents that I mentor at my brokerage. And I take that very seriously, and I really do try to connect with them in a manner where they really understand the importance of not really, my opinion. It's more about my advice. I give advice. I don't tell them what to do. I really just give them advice and guide them in the right direction of what I think is the right way to go. And some of those talks are difficult talks. Some of those talks are talks that they don't want to have sometimes. But it's something that you really do have to have an open mind about. When you're mentoring, is that you have to have some difficult conversations, and it can't always just revolve around commission splits and that kind of thing. It's more about how are you helping this person. And so that was vital to me, when I took over the team and I started running my team myself. Is could I be like Jacob? Could I be a person that the agents could come to, and would I give them sound advice? Advice that was, based on the situation and not my personal beliefs or thoughts or opinions. It's hard to separate all of it, but I think it's vital to to be a good mentor and a coach. You have to really look in the mirror and ask, would I give this advice to myself? Before you dish it out to somebody else. So they trust you with that, and it's very important for you to take that role on in a serious manner. I have agents that call me almost every day with advice or things, regarding my opinion on things and how I should handle certain things. And I put myself in their shoes before I answer that question. And, I really try to see what they're doing and kind of gauge before I answer, instead of giving a flat answer. And God forbid I ever, have a mentality of, I don't have time for you, or, you're wasting my time with these dumb questions, any of that stuff. I cannot do that to any agent. It's bad karma, and it's against my belief. And kind of learned that from Jacob, because he would always have time for me. He would always make a couple minutes or an hour, whatever it took, for me to be satisfied with his answer. So that was one thing that stuck to mind in mentorship, is that if somebody's going to take on that role, they really have to be prepared to take it seriously. Another thing that kind of came to mind was, you know, impact. And what I mean by that is it goes in sight with mentorship. You know, is what kind of impact are you leaving behind? You know, with someone that's coming to you for advice, and you really don't want to have any sort of negative impact. You know, and I take that very seriously as well. And I always try to tell my agents, look, you know, I'm putting myself in your shoes, and this is what I would do. You know, this is my advice to you. You don't have to listen to me, but this is what I would do. You know, and that's in this world of real estate. You know, it's so important to have that clarity about making sure that you don't tell them what to do. You actually just are giving them advice, and you're listening to them. You know, listening to what their problems are. So the impact goes a long way because you really have to, you know, be careful about that. At least I think so. I think you have to be careful about, you know, the impact you're going to leave with somebody. And it's almost as if when you're raising, you know, a family, when you have a kid and, you know, they're going through life lessons with you, and you teach them certain things and how to act and how to behave and handle situations. It's kind of the same, you know, when you're a mentor. Not that you're mentoring kids, but it's the same, you know, type of impact, is that your good habits should be reciprocated and your bad habits will be reciprocated too. So you have to be very careful as a mentor not to, you know, give bad habits or give shortcuts, because it can lead somebody astray. And so, you know, if someone did that to me, I wouldn't be in a position where I am today, you know. And so I'm thankful to have the right people who have given me advice and who've given me guidance in the past 10 years. And it's not only Jacob, you know, my buddy Arthur and his wife Louisa. They always give me advice, and they're very black and white about it, which I appreciate, because you just, when you're calling for advice, you kind of want facts, and you want ramifications, you know, that if I go this direction, what's going to happen, or if I go this direction, what's going to happen. And so I try to give the same type of scenario to my agents that call me, because I don't want them to, you know, not be aware of everything, every type of scenario, you know, that can be impactful to their careers. And one little thing can lead to something big. So every single time I get a phone call, I take it seriously, and I try to give them undivided attention. Sometimes it's hard, you know, but it's only fair that you do that, because in their mind, they're calling you for a reason. So that's, you know, a couple of things that came to mind about impact and mentorship. Another thing I kind of want to talk about is influence, or, you know, becoming an influencer. And I don't mean, you know, a celebrity or by any means. I don't mean that, but I do mean that, you know, if you have the capability of reaching out to hundreds of people or thousands of people, you know, if you get blessed with that, you have to be very mindful of what kind of influence you're throwing out there, and what exactly what message you're conveying out there to the people that are following you. And the reason why this came up is because I recently talked to a influencer, you know, on social media, on Instagram especially, and he and I connected, and, you know, he thinks that by aligning together, he could really help my real estate business, and he could really help me take my career to the next level, and, you know, scale my business, and which is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to scale. And I'm learning that, you know, working with my SOI, my sphere of influence, my previous clients, my referrals, it's a circle. It's a pretty big circle, but it's only limited to those folks. And for me to expand to where I want to be, you know, outside of this circle, I really do have to become more vigilant about, you know, making a bigger impact beyond just my sphere of influence. And, you know, that influencer route of dedicating time and money, and, you know, dedicating all of that effort towards having people follow you, it's the new game, you know, in real estate, is that you have to have a presence online. I wish that I didn't have to worry about that, but unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Is that you really do have to be impactful, on social media and be active, and I don't like putting my face in front of the camera, but you have to now. That's the way it goes. So that was the other thing that kind of stuck out to me was that, what kind of influence will you have on others, and what are you going to do with any sort of, influence or any sort of impact that you can leave with somebody else. And I always strive to make it positive. So I'm not going to dive too much into it, but that's kind of been the theme for me recently, is that molding with adjusting with market conditions. And I don't mean real estate market only. I also mean conditions of how you impact others, how you gain new clientele, and what you're doing in order to continue to scale. Speaking of scale, I'm adding another I'm adding another service to my clients, and I started getting into lending. So lending's part of it. It's getting there. I've got a good partner that I've partnered up with to do loans. Now we're looking into adding life insurance as another service to my clients, and I'm in the process of studying right now, and I'm going to eventually graduate hopefully with my license, and I'll be able to write policies for my clients. And my reason for doing this is because it goes hand in hand with real estate. As a buyer, when you purchase a house, you want to make sure that you can afford that house for the long term. And if something happens to you unexpected, medical or anything, accident, how are you going to come up with that mortgage if you end up losing your job somehow? And so that got me thinking about, how I can protect my clients. And I ran across a couple of ladies that, we connected online, and they both are part of a group that sells policies to their clients with living benefits. So like they're from a company called National Life Group, and National Life Group is part of offering living benefits to clients. So we're looking at potentially adding that to the service to my buyers, and I hope to bring them that service to protect them, and just give them a cushion of protection in case something happens. So that's something that I'm going to be, that's my next adventure. Is I'm going to get certified hopefully soon. Got to take some classes and go back to school and learn about life insurance. So that's something that I'm kind of working towards, is becoming life insurance certified, doing lending, and also real estate. I think all of them go hand in hand, and they should all be connected together in terms of, providing a service to the clients. Ultimately, it's about the clients and making them happy. I've always been relationship driven and results based. That's kind of my theme. Results based and relationship driven, and kind of strive to continue to do that. Other than that, let's take a turn towards talking about a little bit of golf. I love talking about golf. So recently I've been playing better, and I got to thinking, especially the last couple of days, I got to thinking that, how come when I step on the golf course now, I have a sense of calmness, and I have a sense of ability, to not freak out when I hit a bad shot, and pick myself up quickly, stay in the moment, and execute the next shot, and it's kind of become the same in life. Is when I've been hit with not so good news in real estate, if I lose a deal or if a deal doesn't go through, I don't let it impact me long term. I don't let it, get to me. I continue to strive to pick myself up, stay composed, and hit the next shot, and basically go after the next deal. So I got to thinking about golf and how I'm able to, have that level-headedness to when I'm playing, nothing really gets to me. Yeah, the shots can annoy me, but it this is not permanent, what I'm about to say, but at least for now, it's become a switch where as soon as I hit a bad shot, I'll let my frustrations out. I usually don't curse or anything, but I will sometimes. Sometimes I do have a pretty well-versed vocabulary of curse words, but I'll let it out, and then I'll switch back on to focusing on the next shot. And by doing so, I'm able to recover a lot better, and I'm able to save par, and I think that kind of goes hand in hand with how I've reacted to a slow market in real estate and not freaking out, by not getting the commissions and the deals that I did last year. And it's the reality of the situation that, you have to work twice as hard for half the deals right now. It just is what it is. But before, I would let that pressure get to me a little bit. Just like in golf, I'd let that pressure get to me. But now I actually just stay in that moment, and it's hard to describe, but it's like a trance feeling where, you're just kind of focused on this right now, and that's it. You're not focused on what could have happened, what should have happened, what you didn't do. Just more about, this is what I'm dealing with. This is my situation. How am I going to best produce, out of to get out of it, or to how am I going to best produce the best shot available to me, in life or in golf? What is it going to take for me to execute my next phase? And so that has had a really cool impact on me mentally, and when I used to go play golf years back, I would just go out there to try to hit the ball as far as I could and make as many birdies as possible. Now, it's become so cerebral to me, and it's become not a chess match, but it's become a match with myself, mentally, and where I put myself in certain situations, and it's so easy for me to talk about this because it just kind of relates, but you really dive into dissecting every shot, in golf, and every hole and every course, and things of that, the wind and the heat and the rain and the cold and conditions, and so you really do, at least me, when I say you, I mean me, I really do kind of, have a mental clarity about not getting overly, overzealed, or just kind of overexcited about something, positive or negative. If I hit a great shot, I say that's, I'm glad I hit that shot and it executed and I drew it up in my mind, and, that's the way it went. And then I move on to the next, because there's still the next shot to hit, and that goes just in correlation with life, is that, you have a good day, or you have a good commission or a good deal. That's great. You celebrate, and then you move on. You move on to the next one. And if you lose one, which I have lost recently, not getting into the details, but I've lost, quite a bit of deals recently, but it's part of it. You're not going to win them all. And so you want to be very cerebral about it and handle it in a manner where you can move on without having regret, and woulda, coulda, shoulda will really, really mess with your mind. And I used to do that in golf. I used to be like, man, I missed that birdie putt, or I should have hit that shot differently, or can I have that back? Can I have a mulligan? And, mulligans are not real. In real life, you don't get that. You don't get do-overs. So you have to proceed with what you hit, and you have to be accepting of the risk that you're going to take by hitting that shot. And that's where I feel like I've gotten better at golf. Not necessarily my skill. Physically I'm the same. I'm hitting the ball the same. I'm hitting it the same distance. But mentally, I'm able to grind out better scores because I'm just mentally more, involved in every shot. And it may sound boring, or it may sound like I take this too seriously, but to be honest with you, I correlate that to life. And so anytime I talk about golf, it has a direct correlation to life. If you can play golf and be this cerebral about it, and handle situations in a manner where you're calm about it and you can move on, you can have short-term memory, and forget about the bad and forget about the good too. It's kind of just keep staying level-headed. If you apply that to life and business, it will really have a positive impact on you mentally and your stress levels. You're not going to get too high up or too far down. You're really going to stay level-headed, and you're really going to be able to move on from situation to situation in a very delightful manner. Anyways, that's kind of some of the stuff I wanted to discuss today. Great episode. We'll call it here. It's August. I'm getting ready to go on vacation soon, so I'm excited. I'm going to spend some time with my wife, hit the reset button, and hopefully on my next episode when I come back, I'll have some refreshed thoughts about what I learned the last week or so, on vacation. Still going to be working, that never stops, but it's a healthy balance you have to have. And so I'm excited to take this trip and unwind a little bit and get back to hopefully a awesome schedule and really start ramping it up to try to get to my numbers this year. So until then, until the next episode, cheers, be safe, be well, and have a good one.